108 minutes to quarantine failure. Master
Iteration.
caution. Reset.
2,
No current alarms.
0,
Vault temperature
1,
within normal parameters.
3,
Vault pressure
1,
within normal parameters. Vault
0,
humidity within normal
1,
parameters. Vault
2,
integrity test report
1,
secured.
0, 0.
Talk show.
We'll do it live!
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Manual override achieved. For station uplink, enter 3, 2.
Hello, I'm Sergeant Drano, and you're listening to a communication from Station 7, or The Door. Station 7 is a sociological experiment in progress for members of the Dharma Initiative and fans of Lost and The Walking Dead. So we're going to go ahead and open up our lines for anyone who wants to communicate.
Opening communications channel. Waiting.
Well, Lost is over.
Satellite uplink established.
But it turns out, Damon and Carlton's prediction was true.
What's really fun is to actually have a character back who is dead, but isn't really dead.
When someone dies on Lost, they're dead. And that's really it. Like, we're not trying to be sneaky and they're going to come back as a zombie.
Year 7, you're going to regret that zombie comment.
I am really going to regret that. Year 7 is actually, the subtitle is Lost Zombies. And it's just everybody who we've killed off over the years coming back and trying to eat
It'll be
brains.
cool. It'll be like Stephen King's.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
So today, we're going to react to episode 38 of the hit series on AMC, The Walking Dead. The title of the episode is Isolation. We'll rate the episode, give our initial thoughts, critique things a bit, and follow that up with a Walker of the Week, the Roger Award, and our survival scenario. Next, we'll make some predictions for what we think might happen next. These predictions will be spoiler-free and will not make any reference to the comic book series that The Walking Dead is based on. Finally, we'll compare and contrast between the TV series and the comics in our 3-minute spoiler section. So without further ado, let's get to it. But first, a word from our sponsors. This week's episode is sponsored by the amazing Chinese shovel. Think it's just a shovel? No! It slices, dices, digs, picks, parries, pliers, screws, hammers. It's the only tool you'll ever need. Much more than a shovel. It's the amazing Chinese shovel. Okay, let's see who we've got on the line for today.
Incoming transmission from Mrs. Drano.
Mrs. Drano? How's it going, Mrs. Drano? And how are you doing today? I think my wife might be infected.
Later.
Might have to guard my brains later, perhaps.
Find the ball peen hammer.
Hey, you're not on the phone yet.
Nope. I'll have to
Okay.
edit him out.
Okay, who else have we got on the line?
Incoming transmission from Mr. Bad.
Hey, Mr. Bad, how's it going?
Excellent, Sergeant. Had a great Halloween. How was yours?
Entirely and completely uneventful. We did absolutely nothing for Halloween.
That went.
What are you talking about?
What? Oh, we seem to have another ghost on the transmission somehow. Maybe we should just finish bringing everybody else in first. That's great, Mr. Bad. I'm looking forward to hearing about your Halloween. But first, who else do we have on the line?
Incoming transmission from Mr. Good.
Hey, Mr. Good, how's it going?
Terrible. I have no candy to speak of.
No candy? Did somebody clean you
No
out?
candy. I never bought any.
Well, now's your big chance because now it's all on discount, right? The post-Halloween candy discount.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's all like 50% off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now's your big chance.
My plan. That's my plan.
That's your plan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, looks like we got one more person up here.
Incoming transmission from Mike.
Hello, Michael. Michael. Hello, Mike.
Hi.
Cool. And how are you doing?
Good.
Did you have a good Halloween?
Mine was also very uneventful. Didn't do much.
Did you eat all of Mr. Good's candy?
Well, I didn't go trick-or-treating, but I did get a little candy in school, so it wasn't like all too bad.
Candy in school? Is that what our tax dollars are going towards these days?
No.
No?
No.
So, what were you for Halloween?
I was Mike.
You were Mike. Oh, okay. How about you, Mr.
Yeah.
Good? What were you for Halloween, Mr. Good?
I dressed up. Oh, not the other guy.
The better half there, Mr. Bad. I was the scariest thing I could think of.
You dressed up as your brother?
Science teacher. I dressed up as a science teacher.
Oh, okay. Not your brother.
Yes.
Very nice.
He's not scientific. No.
He's not scientific. And what about you, Mr. Bad? What did you do for Halloween? Sounded like you had a story there for us.
Oh, I dressed up in my Star Trek away jacket and went searching the galaxy. I went into D.C. and went to a concert. Nico Case, a female songwriter from Canada, had a concert at the Lincoln Theater near U Street, and that was very nice. Went to the famous Ben's Chili Bowl for dinner. Had a nice chili dog and a chocolate shake, and had a very nice time at the concert. It's very good.
Oh, that sounds pretty fancy. But did you get any candy?
I bought lots of candy, and I had eaten half of it before Halloween, and unfortunately nobody was home to give the other half away, so I still have some candy, yes.
Maybe you can hook up Mr. Good.
More importantly, did you get any sugar?
No, just Splendor.
I'm not sure what that might be code for. It sounds bad, though.
Sounds like some self-applied sugar.
Oh. How about you, the wife? How was your Halloween? Well, I can have her on the podcast all the time. All I need is one little sound file that goes blah. I can just hit that button.
Telling you, she sounds infected.
Yeah, yes, she does. I think she's infected with the work week. I mean, hopefully
Good. Oh, dude. My friend Sharon made a whole bunch. She like crocheted or knitted or whatever the heck it is she does. A bunch of these awesome little zombie bunnies with like their innards hanging out for the Walker Stalker convention. I'm not really sure where that is. But
oh, wow. Those guys are big names.
Yeah. And she's got a friend that they're selling them for her.
Uh-huh.
And Norman Reedus just bought one of the green ones.
Cool.
So Norman Reedus has a zombie bunny with its guts hanging out, made by one of my friends.
Wow. That means you're vicariously almost famous.
Yeah, just about.
Well, what do you mean she's married to you? You're a radio podcasting personality.
I said famous, not infamous.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
too many brains.
Well, you guys ready to get into this?
Ready to roll.
Okay, let's start with that thing that we do at the start of the thing that we do. Okay, isolation. Maggie, Glenn, and a few others dig graves while Dr. S. Incidentally, does anybody know what the S stands for? I still don't know what S stands for. I think I called him Dr. C last week because somebody said his name was Caleb, but does anybody know what the S stands for?
I think it's his last name. I think it's Caleb Shakalama.
You just made that up.
I did make that up, but I'm pretty sure S stands for his last name.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, it's his middle name, obviously.
Obviously.
Well, S comes right before T, so this is probably a reference to the movie Dr. T and the Women.
I pity the fool.
That's
Gets
Mr.
my last
T.
name wrong.
That's Mr. T, not Dr. T.
Whoa.
Dr. T and the Women. That's a horrible movie.
I have never.
God, I hated that movie. Never watch it if you haven't.
I think we actually do have it, but I have not watched it.
Why would you spend your money on that?
I didn't. I think I inadvertently got it from the Crazy Captain.
Ugh, God.
Should have said I spent your money, dear.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, that's about all the money there is these days. Anyway, let's see.
Worst movie ever.
No way. That's
I would rather, if you gave me the choice right now between watching Dancer in the Dark and Dr. T and the Women, I would watch Dancer in the Dark.
But that's only because you haven't seen Rocket Man or Billy Jack.
I would watch those two.
Okay.
I would watch all three in a row before I would watch Dr. T and the Women once more.
So if I bring Dr. T and the Women upstairs, you will willingly watch Billy Jack and or Rocket Man?
Maybe not at this time, but yes.
Okay. We have a bargain. How about you guys? Have any of you guys seen Dancer in the Dark or Billy Jack or Rocket Man?
I saw Billy Jack. Rocket Man, I think I saw. That was like that 40s era, a recent movie they set in the 40s, and the guy had a rocket pack and was fighting the Nazis.
No, that's the Rocketeer.
Yeah, that's the Rocketeer.
Oh, Rocketeer. No, I don't know the Rocket Man.
That's a better movie, apparently. I don't know. I've never seen Rocket Man, but I've heard tell.
Rocket Man is a stupid comedy about a stupid guy who gets sent into space, and then he farts in his spacesuit, and the fart goes through a tube into another guy's spacesuit.
Are you kidding? That sounds awesome. That's a great movie.
It might sound awesome, but trust me, it is not awesome.
That sounds epic. I'd watch that.
Okay, well, we have it. So
I'm looking at it right now. And Billy Jack are cuddled right up next to each other.
You saw Billy Jack?
By the way, Dr. C's name, his last name is Dr. Subramanian.
Wow. I can
something unpronounceable, so
I can see why they call him Dr. S.
Yeah. Okay.
I gather you got that off of IMDb.
I heard his name was Dr. Hess, like Hess, but okay.
Huh. Dr. S. Dr. Hess. I could see why somebody would think they were saying Hess. Yeah, that's pretty good too. You saw Billy Jack, Steve?
Sure, I saw Billy Jack many times. I'm old. That was a very exciting movie back in the time.
Now it's just horrible.
Funny as nobody.
It's very lame. Then you got the return of Billy Jack, and Billy Jack he comes back yet again.
Okay, I get way off topic. Let's see. Okay, Dr. S prepares to finish off a freshly dead survivor. Tyrese flips out at Rick and Daryl, demanding that Rick find the person who killed Karen and David. When Rick tells him to calm down, Tyrese attacks Rick. Daryl pulls him off, and Rick proceeds to break his hand on Tyrese's left eye while yelling, "Let go of my!" as Daryl tries to separate them. Later, Herschel bandages up Rick and telling him that they lost 12 people to the zombie outbreak, plus the killings of Karen and David. He encourages Rick to get back on the wagon. Outside, Tyrese is pulling a Jim, furiously digging graves for Karen and David. Expendable Bob tells Tyrese to get his eye checked out, but Tyrese only says, "When they in the ground." He shows off his effed up left eye. Meanwhile, Glenn tries to get encouragement from Herschel that the disease threat is over, but Sasha shows up infected. She heads into Block A and sees lots of infected people, including one who has died and reanimated. She finds Dr. S, who is also infected. The council meets, and Herschel reports that everyone who survived the attack in Block D is now infected, plus some others. He designates Block A for isolation. Herschel tells the rest about a veterinary college 50 miles away that may have antibiotics. Daryl volunteers to put a team together for a run. The council also decides to put the children and the elderly, which means Herschel, in the administration building to keep them safer from infection. Later, Carol and Rick are trying to pump water, but the line is clogged with mud. Carol says they should go out and fix it. Rick says, later. Carol suggests Rick make peace with Tyrese, who is finishing up the graves nearby. Rick apologizes to Tyrese, and Tyrese demands that he find the killer. Rick says the killer may have been trying to stop the infection, but promises to investigate once the infection crisis is over. Tyrese says that's not fast enough, and goes to investigate himself. He does this by glaring angrily at everyone he sees. Rick sends Carl to the admin building and puts him in charge. Carl has the backpack from that guy they left to die on the side of the road. Maggie discovers that Glenn is infected, and Daryl gets Zach's Dodge Charger ready for the mission, and recruits Michonne and Expendable Bob for his team. Daryl tries to recruit Tyrese, but he won't go with Sasha sick. In the admin building, Herschel tries to sneak out to the woods, but Carl catches him. Carl tells him he can't go alone, and Herschel says, "Don't tell me what I can't do." Carl insists on going with him. At Block A, Carol puts Expendable Jeanette inside, even though Jeanette insists it's just allergies. Sophia, too, shows up sick, so Carol gives her a hug and puts her in too. Maggie talks to Beth through the door to admin and tells her that Glenn is sick. Beth gives Maggie a pep talk and says, "Do your job." In the woods, Carl's got his hat on and his gun ready. Herschel praises Carl on his maturity while he picks plants. Carl notices a badly decayed zombie and another one with its leg in a bear trap. Carl starts to shoot it, but Herschel tells him he doesn't need to. Separated by a window in A block, Tyrese talks to Sasha and tells her to stay positive, then goes to join Daryl's team. Outside, Carol tries to get water from 2 drums, but they are both almost empty. Tyrese startles her and asks Carol to look in on Sasha while he's gone. Carol agrees and tells Tyrese she's sorry about what happened to Karen. Tyrese leaves and Carol suddenly rages on the water drums, crying. Maggie catches Herschel heading for the Block A. She tries to talk him out of it, but Herschel insists on going in with some elderberries to help. Rick investigates the crime scene of Karen and David's murder. He finds a bloody palm print on the edge of a door. Outside the fence, Carol is working to clear the water line of mud. The zombies are distracted by a moving contraption for a while, but finally notice Carol and start moving in. Rick sees, comes running, and yells at Carol to run. Carol gets the line cleared and tosses it back in the stream. She whacks a zombie with her machete, but it gets stuck in the zombie's skull. Rick arrives and starts getting headshots left-handed. Together they make it back inside the fence. Team Daryl speeds along in the Charger, and Daryl is driving and doing everything except looking at the road. He turns the radio on, and they briefly hear some sort of radio transmission. It may have been a French lady. Suddenly, there are zombies in the road. Daryl swerves around them, but stops when they see a huge herd in front of them. They try to back up, but the Charger bottoms out on a pile of zombies. The team abandons ship and heads for the woods, except for Tyrese, who lingers behind in the car. Expendable Bob yells at Tyrese, and he finally gets out and goes to town with his hammer, but the zombies are swarming all over him as he rages. The rest flee into the woods, leaving Tyrese behind. They get to a clearing, and Daryl stops to load another arrow. Zombies come through the trees, but Tyrese is right behind them, taking them out. He rejoins the group, and they run. In Block A, Herschel gives Dr. S some of his magic berry tea, so Dr. S coughs blood all over Herschel's face. Herschel is like, "Really?" and takes his face mask off. Herschel then comforts Glenn and tells Glenn it's his job to believe they can make it. Do your job. Rick confronts Carol and tells her it was stupid to go out alone to fix the water line. Rick asks if there's anything she wouldn't do to help the survivors, and Carol says no. Rick asks, "Carol, did you kill Karen and David?" And Carol says, "Yes," and walks off with her water buckets. So, what did you guys think of this episode? How would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, Mrs. Drano? And how does that translate numerically?
About a 5.
About a 5, okay. How about you, Mr. Bad?
Well, I liked it almost twice as much as Mrs. Drano. I'll give it a 9. I really enjoyed it.
Wow.
I was especially impressed by Scott Wilson's portrayal of Herschel. I thought this was one of his best episodes ever, and I am in deathly fear that they're going to kill him off because of that, because they always seem to give people their best, episodes right before they kill them.
Ah. Ooh, I see New York on the call. Who's that, New York?
Hey.
Hey, is that you, Faraday?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I figure at this point, if I didn't get the call, I won't be.
Okay, cool. Hey, Steve, you want to queue up incoming transmission for Faraday right quick?
Opening communications channel. Waiting.
Nope, that's not
you
it.
Are muted. Waiting. Satellite uplink established.
I don't have on the board right at the.
You are unmuted.
Find it.
Okay.
I'll put it in post.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Faraday.
Hey, Faraday, how you doing, man?
Okay, I guess.
How is New York this time of year?
It's actually pretty warm today. It was 72.
Oh, that's cool. And did you see this week's episode of TWD?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. And what would you rate the episode from 1 to 10?
Signal detected.
I don't use numerical ratings.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. But you liked it.
Yeah. Pretty good episode.
Yeah. Are you, in general, feeling better about this season than the way last season ended up?
Well, to be fair, the only problem I had with last season was the finale.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think a lot of us had a problem with that. All right. Mr. Good, how would you rate the episode 1 to 10?
Well, I have to agree with Mrs. Drano. I think she hit it right on the head, the 5.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Okay. And how about Michael?
I heard the episode Steve course, right? Mr. Bad, and give it a 9.
Yay! Wow. Some real diversity on this podcast. Maybe not racial diversity, but ratings diversity. Interesting. Yeah, I guess I got to give my own. And I will give it a 7. I thought it was, pretty decent, not super great. 7 is kind of like my average rating, I think. So what worked and didn't work? What do you think, Mrs. Drano? What worked and didn't work for you this episode? Apparently there was quite a bit that did not work. So lay it on.
Yeah, just kind of overall, I'm feeling the sharks circling.
You were saying earlier you don't like the direction Carol is going?
I'm just not down with the big, sudden turnarounds. And I know there's, time jumps and stuff, but I'm just not down with it.
Was there anything that you thought did work? Was there anything you did like about the episode?
Is there anything I did like about the episode? The ending was pretty good, when it was over.
You're such a hater. Okay, what about you, Steve? What worked and didn't work for you?
For me, like I said, Herschel's performance was great. I enjoyed the tension of them going to the road trip to the the veterinarian place. I was a little upset about them getting in the car accident, swerving right away. Like nobody actually watches the road in the zombie apocalypse. They're just fucking with the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Why he didn't just put a CD in it, right away? I don't know why they would be fussing with the radio.
Right.
But I especially liked the fact that they heard something, and we can talk about what they might have heard later on.
Oh, yes.
But the only thing I didn't like, I thought Tyrese's performance was a little one-dimensional. I mean, he's right in the middle of this anger, metamorphosis about him actually becoming this mighty zombie-slaying machine. But that was good to see him, swamped by zombies and then, come out all blondie, zombie blood all over him, and pretty good.
Right. Okay. And how about you, Mr. Good? What worked and didn't work?
I move that Carol be removed from the council. And I believe I have a second in Mrs. Drano.
Banisher.
Amateur? What?
Banisher.
Banisher. Wow.
Banisher.
Now, she particularly she was really scared, and I thought her character really let the ball down when the little girl was sick and wanted to be tucked in.
Right. Oh yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, she can do anything. She can kill these people, and she's all tough. She can knife things, but she can't go in and get herself in a position where she could get sick. She was really scared about getting sick.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. How about you, Michael? What worked and didn't work for you?
I'll start with what didn't work. I didn't really like the fact that like Cal, as you said, I didn't really like how I knew that they were somehow in a way gonna say that Cal did it. Well, I didn't know for sure, but when they did, I think that they could have said it like in a different way, because they said it right at the end of the episode where like, oh, they didn't give any details. It just said that she did it, and like, you know what I mean? I thought that was kind of cheesy.
I take umbrage. Of course you knew Carol did it. Didn't you hear my prediction last week? Mr.
Your
Bad?
prediction is like, it's like the best. That's right.
Spot on.
Spot on.
Yep, Carol killed Karen and David. Mr. Bad. Yep, says that right here.
Okay, and I also didn't really like how they had Cell Block A, like, what's the word, maintained. I know that like it would be a really like bad illness, and like it won't be that goodly. It's not even a word. Well maintained, but
right.
I still think that like the big, like Dr. S or whatever was like sick and just coughing around, and it was really just a pretty big hellhole. Things that worked, I semi-liked the giant megahertz on the road. I thought that was kind of funny.
The giant. What? Say it again.
There was a giant megahertz on the road. Remember that?
Oh yeah, megahertz. Yeah.
And like Tyrese just getting out of the car and beating up like 30 zombies. That was funny.
Yeah.
But the last other thing I liked that worked was when Herschel was actually getting medicine to treat the side effects for people.
Yeah.
I thought like they were finally not like, instead of like sitting in their chairs in their council, like when he did heal these people off, they were actually trying to like treat it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay. Cool. And how about you, Faraday? What worked and didn't work for you this episode?
From what I remember, about the only thing I really didn't like was how the big guy, I can't remember his name, managed to survive. Was it Tyrese?
Oh, Tyrese, the guy who was being swarmed?
Yes. He should not have been able to make it out of that alive.
Well, that's
at least somehow they cut away from it.
Well, do you think he did make it out, or do you think maybe he got scratched or bitten? Because, I mean, he did have quite a bit of blood and stuff, I remember. We don't really know whether he's injured or not.
Based on what they show, he is still alive. Well, he shouldn't have been able to get away from that position.
Right.
He was getting dragged down from his back, from what I remember. It seemed like he was getting all that from all angles. And suddenly he walks out of the bushes.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising. Yes, I've got something to say about that, but I'm going to have to hold it for the spoiler section, I think. I think there might be a comic book reference in there, sort of indirectly, but we'll see. Did you have anything else, Faraday, or should I go on?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. For me, what worked, kind of like Mr. Bad, I thought all the Herschel stuff was really strong. And what didn't work, I didn't like the whole pumping water from the stream that has walkers all around it. That didn't really quite make sense to me. I mean, obviously the prison has, internal, water system. I mean, if nothing else, you'd think they could run a line down to wherever the prison normally gets water from and just pump it from there. I don't get why they need to run a hose through the fence into a stream. That doesn't really make sense to me.
They were probably getting water, probably from a sewer line, which probably isn't functional anymore. Because you're right, if they had a
sewer line,
you know what I mean, a water main, okay, a water main. Because if they had a well, they should be able to, to get some kind of windmill action going to pump it up.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if they had a water main that's not working, yeah, I would agree that the little stream out there is of questionable quality. Because they're killing, you know, zombies every day and letting them decay right on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
Got to worry about the runoff from the pig farm or the old pig farm.
Yeah. All right. Smartest, dumbest. What was something somebody did this episode that was the smartest thing that was done, and who did the dumbest thing? What was that? What do you think, Mrs. Drano? What was your smartest, dumbest? Pass. Okay, Mr. Bad.
The smartest thing I thought was Herschel. He was a stand-up guy getting the elderberries, willing to go outside on his own, and then eventually, you know, trailing Carl. I thought that was great. I really was impressed there. The dumbest was also a medical thing. It was the stupid Dr. S vomiting all over Herschel. I mean, there's one person who should know he's supposed to be covering his goddamn mouth when he coughs. It's a goddamn doctor.
Oh yeah, that annoyed me. I was like, what? Like, really? People cover your damn mouth. Vile. You're just like all over each other. I'm like, ugh.
It's good that, you know, Herschel had a mask on, but, you know, the masks are actually even more important for the sick people because they're the people who are expunging it.
Yeah, really.
You know, the mask actually protects people around them. Whenever you see all these wackos with masks on who are afraid to get sick, that's usually not that effective. You know, gloves and eye protection are, you know, I mean, they're somewhat effective, you know, because they can stop some particles you might breathe in. But usually they're much more effective if you can get the goddamn sick people to wear them. But
great point, Mr. Bad.
The dumbest thing, that's my two dumbest. That's my dumbest. Yes, medical.
Okay, Mr. Good.
I would agree that the best thing that happened was Herschel actually doing something positive and helping, you know, the great amount, a huge number of people that were sick, isolated in this hellhole, doing something, you know, positive. I think the worst thing was Rick kicking Tyrese in the stomach. I mean, he could have killed him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, once he was down,
Yeah, he went wacko on him.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Okay, Michael.
I'm going to have to agree with everybody else. My smartest was Herschel finally stepping up and doing something. Well, not really stepping up. He's done it in the past, but doing something in the present. My dumbest would probably be Carol, just being a total whack job running around, who somehow is in the council, who knocks down all their water, who apparently is in charge of all the water mains and stuff. I just think like she's a little too crazy, but she doesn't really show it. Like she had a bad childhood or something. I don't know.
Okay, that's pretty good. And what do you think, Faraday? Smartest, dumbest?
Well, I don't think anyone did anything particularly smart this episode.
That's pretty good.
Dumbest? Tyrese sitting in the car waiting about 2 minutes before actually getting out.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get that either. Why is he just sitting there? Doesn't make any sense.
And I have to disagree with who said that what Rick did was stupid about kicking Tyrese in the stomach.
Uh-huh.
I do not believe that someone of Rick's stature compared to Tyrese could do any major damage to him. Like, I found it unbelievable that Rick managed to just punch Tyrese in the face and he fell over.
Okay. Well, that's his gun hand, right? You lift a lot of weight lifting that gun up and down all day long.
But Rick, in comparison to Tyrese, looks like a scrawny bastard.
Sinewy. Very sinewy.
Sinewy. Yeah, there is some weight differential there, I agree. Let's see. My smartest, dumbest. For smartest, I got checking the veterinary college for drugs. I thought that was a good idea. And for dumbest, I got Rick breaking his hand on Tyrese. I thought that was dumb. I mean, Tyrese was, clearly flipping out, and Rick should really know better. I mean, he's supposed to be a police officer. I mean, he should know not to just, flip out right back on somebody like that. That was dumb.
Wait, so you mean he actually broke his hand?
Well, yeah.
Sprained it.
Yeah, well, sprain, that's the same thing as breaking it, isn't it?
No. Sprain is just the ligaments in your wrist. He just sprained it. Herschel mentioned it was just sprained would hurt for a couple of days or so.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
I thought sprain was the same thing as broken it.
No.
Okay. Well, darn, I was hoping it was broken. Oh, well. Okay, questions raised.
All right, guys, I'm going to get off this thing. I'm tired.
Okay, night, sweetie. I see you soon.
Y'all having fun.
We will.
Bye, Nikki.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, questions raised in this episode. Question that occurred to me was, are they really getting all their water from that stream? Because that just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, in the earlier episode, we saw Patrick kid, like, pump some kind of thing in the bathroom and it made the shower go. I mean, isn't that water coming from somewhere, or is that really something that they have to fill up manually all the time? I just don't get it. Anybody else got any thoughts on that, or what do you think?
It would be, they should have, even if they have a water main, a lot of places end up having a water tower to store water in case of emergency. So I would think they would have a water tower that they could, try to fill, either gradually or with some pumps or with rainwater to, divert it through pipes and such. But you're right. Yeah, that did occur to me that the water supply was definitely a little iffy, with the walkers, trudging through it. Ew. Come to think of it, every walker that got to the fence had to walk through the creek, probably.
Yeah, at least on that side. Did anybody think of any other questions raised in this episode? Of course, we still don't know who's feeding the zombies.
It's not exactly a question, but something I'm curious about.
What was that?
Was that horde the same one from season 2?
That what?
Was the horde they ran into at the end of the episode the same horde from season 2?
That's a good question. I guess it's possible.
You mean the end of season 2?
Yeah, the one that basically destroyed the Herschel's farm.
I don't think it was that big.
Well,
it's supposed to be like 7,500 zombies, I think.
I know, but I don't know if they actually had that many people. But they used graphics, but that was thousands, 10,000.
Yeah, on the Talking Dead. I'm sorry.
From what I remember from the season 2 finale, all they showed was a pan back with a wave of zombies coming at them. And the same thing from this episode.
Could
be. That Herschel was a veterinarian of sorts.
Yeah.
And he recommended going to the veterinarian college.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll find some a person who ate shotgun shells in them.
You'll find someone that what? Shot themselves? What?
Herschel's old shotgun shells.
Shotgun shells. Yeah. Yeah, it's Herschel and his infinite shotgun ammo. Yeah. That was awesome. What were you going to say about the Talking Dead, Mr. Ben?
Well, they mentioned on the Talking Dead that there was an estimate to be between 7,000 and 8,000 zombies. That's what their estimate was, and they had several hundred actual people, and the rest were all digitally added. Like the picture of real people and.
Yeah, when I rewatched it, if you look way back in the distance, yeah, I could kind of tell, that they were digitally added, but it was still pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense that it could be the same herd. I mean, theoretically, these herds can grow over time because, as they encounter more zombies, the zombies just tend to follow along with the bigger group, I think. It just all kind of tend to move together, I think. Is that all we got for questions asked?
I have a question.
What you got?
Well, my question is to Mr. Bad. My question is, does the good of the many outweigh the good of the few? Because I think Carol has definitely come down on that in an inappropriate way, and I definitely think she's acting no better than the governor.
Well, I don't know. I think that's a difficult question to answer.
I also think that Carol was acting in a more narrow mindset. She didn't think about who else could have been infected before she went and killed those people.
Yeah, she just didn't. She wasn't complete enough. She should have killed more people.
She could have killed everyone, and then she would have been like a hero.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely objectified, all those people because they were not people she was caring about. They were just, it was like the group was the only thing that mattered, and she was willing to sacrifice anything to protect the group. Then I thought it was very curious when her now adopted daughter comes in and is sick. Would she have had the same brutal, calculations of killing her, if her now adopted daughter was sick?
Oh yeah, I forgot. She actually said that she would care for them as if they were her own, and then she shoved them into the Block A hellhole,
Yeah,
Yes, I think she's definitely going somewhere.
That's it, yes. My question is, how many episodes before the total population of the group is simply the makeup of the council itself?
Everybody's dying.
Yeah, these red shirts are going pretty quick.
The first episode you see 30 people, and now you see 9, 11 maybe at the most.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I thought that, Herschel tells us that 12 people got killed in that first attack that we saw, and I would have thought it was more than that, but I guess it wasn't. But 12 people. But, I don't know. But then we don't really know how many people they've got either, which is probably smart on the writer's part, because those numbers can be tricky to track. Okay, you guys ready to move on to the quote of the week?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Bad, you got a quote for us?
Absolutely. My favorite quote was of course Herschel, in his speech when he was justifying going into the cell block, with Maggie and eventually with Rick.
Yeah.
He eventually says, it's dangerous out here, every time you go for a walk, you can die. Every time you take a drink, you could die. And I think he was referring to the dirty water. Then anytime you breathe. And the only thing you can choose is what you risk it for.
Yeah.
And I obviously thought that was, great. It was very emotional and well acted. But it also counterposed the Carol and the Shane type calculation, moral calculation, because she's not willing to risk the lives of the group for individuals. She's willing to go and sacrifice people for what she perceives as the greater good. And I just have to say that matter morally and philosophically has been completely determined by Star Trek, 3, the Return of Spock, or 4. So.
Nice. Okay, it's good, I guess. How about you, Miss Judd? You got a quote for us?
Yeah, when was it Sasha? What's that little girl's name? Sasha?
Which
the one that got sick?
Lizzie or something?
Lizzie.
Sophia, too.
Lizzie. Sophia. Okay. When the little girl gets sick, she says to Carol, "Will you come in and tuck me in?" And Carol says, "Oh, Dr. S will take care of that." And she slams the door in her face.
You're right.
That's my quote.
She never even took off her tasting.
She felt bad about it, though.
Either that or she was scared. I couldn't tell the difference whether she felt bad about it or she was just scared.
I think it was a mix of the two.
Yeah,
Probably.
but that place was all wrong. There were dead people. There were the zombies in there. It's like, oh, the zombie will tuck you in. Yeah.
Okay, Michael. What about you? Do you have a quote for us? If you don't, it's okay.
I already saw my quote. It's not really a quote. I was just gonna say, when Rick asked Carol right at the beginning of the episode, did you kill Sharon and David?
Yeah.
And she's just like, oh, yep, I did that. Let me go water the plant.
Yeah, that's pretty cold. How about you, Faraday? You got a quote for us?
I don't think anything that was said particularly stands out as quotable to me.
Okay, all right. And I actually got three more. One's another Herschel one. It's when he's talking to Dr. S, and he says, "If you weren't in here already, you'd be in here." I thought that was pretty good. And then earlier, Herschel's got a coffee mug that says Java saves on it. I thought that was kind of amusing. And then we also see a picture up on the wall that has the caption, "Smooth seas do not make good sailors." I thought that was pretty good.
Good pickup on the coffee cup, because that's sort of when you can see it in his eyes where he gets the illumination about going for the elderberries. He's looking at the cup, he's looking at the bottom, he's looking at the label, and then he has this, and that's when he goes out and, Carl says, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to get elderberries." Yeah.
I thought he was just getting bored.
What does the cup mean?
What does the cup mean? It means that the secret cure the secret cure for the flu is actually coffee. Everybody needs to drink coffee and they'll be cured.
He just really likes coffee.
yeah, apparently.
Coffee,
So what he was picking was elderberry leaves?
Yes. Like that's what he said.
So I didn't know they grew in that area. The only thing that comes to mind when I hear elderberries is that scene from the Monty Python movie.
What was that?
It's Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
When the French people were taunting them.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a long time. What did they say?
Your mother the hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
Oh, oh, nice.
It was constantly second time.
Very good Faraday. That was some mental facilities there. I can see why you're such a brilliant scientist.
At first, I thought he was maybe referring to when they say, "Bring us a shrubbery." Let's see, yeah, I guess it's time for Walker of the Week. Okay, this is the segment where we give our award for our favorite walker for the week, or we sometimes award it to somebody who we think behaved in a manner no better than a walker. So, who gets your Walk of the Week award, Mr. Bad?
Carol. Carol's despicable. She's going to have to pay for this murderous carnage she inflicted on two innocent sick people. I tell you. She's not going to be able to just walk away from it, like she did with Rick. Rick's not going to forget that.
Oh, okay. How about you?
I would like to comment on that real fast.
Sure, what you got, Faraday?
Based on how poor I found her acting this episode, I think she'll be killed off soon.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you want to go ahead and give us your Walker of the Week award while you're...
Sure, the walker who jammed the tire.
Okay. Nice. Mr. Good, what you got? Walker of the Week.
I go with Carol.
Carol, okay.
Definitely Carol. Yeah.
And Michael.
I was actually going to say something different than Carol, so sure. I'm just going to go with that, but I think I would say Carol, but just to add a little, different. I was going to say the zombie that got out of, remember the tire? He just got, burned out.
Okay. All right, so you're going with Faraday's. Yes.
That was pretty gory.
That was pretty nice. And I am going to nominate the decayed camp zombie, the one that was leaning against the tree and was all jacked up and just kind of. Yeah, so I vote for that.
One that was just like a.
He was one with the tree.
Yeah. It was all rotted. You could almost see through him.
Yeah. I thought that was great.
That was a great zombie.
Roger Ward.
Roger! And there's a lot to get done before you can afford to lose me.
Roger.
We got this, man. We got this by the ass. Roger, move! Let's go, baby.
You all right?
Perfect, baby.
Roger! Roger, what's it? Steady!
Okay, this is the award we give to the character who we think kicked the most ass in the episode, but a character we think also might have a chance of getting killed off at some point during the story. Or maybe even did get killed off this episode. I don't think we lost anybody this episode, though. Anyway, Mr. Bad, who gets your Roger Award?
Bob with a bullet. I think Bob is very soon he's not going to make it back from the veterinary school. They got to lose somebody in that car for dramatic effect, and I'm afraid it's definitely going to be Bob.
Okay, all right. He's the ex-Army medic. He was the fourth member of Daryl's team. There's Tyrese, Michonne, Daryl, and Bob. He's kind of a thin black dude.
Was he a new character this season or someone from last season?
He was new.
Yeah, he's new for this season.
So that's every season I forget who was actually in it. So even if they were an old character, it feels like a new character.
I understand. Incidentally, I couldn't help but couldn't help but strike me that we have Daryl, whose brother is like giant racist guy, and now he's on a mission with like 3 other black people. He's the only white guy there. Thought that was kind of interesting. Okay, Mr. Good, who gets your Roger Award?
Oh, I think Herschel had a real strong performance. I think he came out real strong. He's hunting in the woods for the elderberry, his selfless acts going in trying to help people.
Yeah.
So I think he would definitely get it, Herschel. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And Michael, who gets your Roger Award?
I think Mr. Bad had it. I think Steve said it right. I think Bob gets the Roger Award.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Someone has to die in that group, and it's not going to be Tyrese or any of them. It's going to be like one of the expendable characters, I think.
Oh, okay. And Faraday, who gets your Roger Award?
Honestly, it feels like they're getting ready to commit another genocide.
A whole bunch of people getting ready to get killed off?
It just seems like, based on the last 2 episodes, that they're getting a lot of characters ready to be killed.
Uh-huh.
Like Glenn, Herschel, I'm thinking maybe even Daryl, Michonne, Carol.
Oh, okay. Does this idea please you that they might be killing off a bunch of people, or?
Actually, no, there's a couple of them I wish would stay alive.
Oh, okay. All right. So who gets
building up their characters to be killed off?
Okay.
That's just what it feels like to me.
Yeah, could be. So, do you want to give your award to anybody in particular this week?
Just the 5 that I mentioned.
The 5 that you mentioned. Okay. All right, and I will give mine to Tyrese because he just about got swarmed this episode, and I'm still not sure whether he's bit or not. And I don't know. It feels like to me that he could be getting killed off soon, and he definitely kicks some ass. All right, zombie behavior.
I'll take your questions.
There's a man going around taking names.
These creatures cannot be considered. They prey on humans. They do not prey on each other. These creatures are nothing but pure, motorized instruments. We must not be lulled by the concept that these are our family members or our friends. They are not.
It's Alpha and Omega's kingdom come.
Okay, the only real thing I've got for zombie behavior is that zombies have no sense of strategy. Because otherwise, that getting the water from the creek thing, that's a huge weakness in the whole defense of the prison type thing. That would be so easy to cut them off from their water supply. Anybody have anything else for zombie behavior, or shall we just proceed on?
I'm curious about something.
Oh, what you got, Faraday?
Do you think that they'd be able to trick into eating each other?
The zombies?
In theory, because in the very early episodes of season 1, they show that by masking your scent, you can make them think that you were one of them. So let's say you gather a lot of sweat, pour it over a zombie. Will other zombies based on the scent go after that?
Or maybe if you took like a stick of deodorant and rubbed it all over a zombie, then you could, get the other zombies to go after it.
Or fresh blood.
Fresh blood. I don't know. That's a good question. I would have to say maybe. It is kind of interesting how the zombies, normally are definitely not attracted to each other, even though they do make noise and they move. But yet we've got this stupid contraption behind the fence that make noise and moves, but they are attracted to it. And I mean, you wouldn't think the contraption would smell like anything that they would want to eat, yet they're still drawn to it. So I'm not sure.
I think in a way that they are attracted to each other, like sometimes like human herds.
Uh-huh.
I just don't think like the deliberate active noise might not just be enough to really make it happen.
Maybe.
Oh, that's a very interesting point, because, that would sort of give another rationale for why they go into herds, that they hear the noises of the other zombies and they're attracted to that communal kind of noise movement.
Yeah.
Once they form sort of their own rationale for keeping the move. They're just following the noise of the movements ahead of them.
Yeah. But they don't really, once they're in the herd, they don't seem to be drawn to each other's movement. You don't see them bumping into each other all the time because they're walking towards other things that move. So I don't know, it's hard to resolve that in my mind. Maybe it's just a plot hole, but it seems like there has to be something that keys off in the zombie that this other zombie is not a target that goes above and beyond smell. But at the same time, if that was true, then you wouldn't think that smell would be enough to mask other people that were walking around with the zombies. I don't know. Maybe it's more of they'll attack anything except something that smells like a zombie. So maybe it's a lack of odor that attracts them. Movement or sound plus lack of zombie odor.
I don't think zombies can smell.
I think they have to be able to smell, because...
Yeah, they have to. Otherwise the guts wouldn't work.
Yeah.
No, they definitely smell. They definitely have an aroma.
Yes.
But if you look at them, they seem to be able to still see. So they have some, and they move. So they have muscles and basic nerves. Some kind of nerves are functioning.
Right.
And then the smell is a hardwired thing right from your nose to your brain.
Right.
But that's about it. Nerves and muscles, but I'm not sure they have any digestive ability at all, because I'm not sure they stay shit.
Well,
I don't know if actually eating does anything for them.
Well, we don't see a whole lot of bloated zombies going around, so I'd almost argue that their digestive system must be a lot more efficient than an ordinary digestive system, because we don't see...
Or maybe they eventually just erode to the point where it erodes their stomach and it just falls out.
That could be too.
Yeah, or to quote another Bonnie Python movie, The Meaning of Life, one thin mint, please, and then they burst.
Yeah, you're blown out, man. And then obviously, they still live, Ron. They're just looking at their intestines like, I want to eat some more.
I think Michael might have it there. It's the zombie tree guy. He didn't have any guts left, and even if you filled up, maybe you fill up and you burst.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I guess that's possible.
What about the one that possibly ate Rick's wife? I forget her name.
Lori. That did not happen. Blocked from mine.
Well, remember that one that was all fat and stuff, and it was like cutting his belly open?
Yeah.
That one looked like it like ate too much, and it was like just like sitting out like.
That was so stupid. Oh man, I hated that.
42 minutes to quarantine failure.
Very amusing. Did anybody have anything else for zombie behavior or zombie observations?
Sergeant Drano, I would add just what you were doing. They seem to definitely are forming herds. The first season, that you know, in the cities, they were forming pretty big herds.
Right.
Herschel's farm, they were. Prior to that, they were following helicopters, you know, motions, and they seem to have an inclination to form herds. And I think that something's going to happen with these big herds. They've got to deal with them somehow.
Do you think there's any sort of a collective that the zombies have, or is it just completely sort of subconscious type stuff? Anybody?
No, I think from what the CDC was saying, you know, it's just a visual cue, you know, just movement and looking for food.
Well, remember when we saw Shane turning? I don't know if that was just like to add to the suspense, but it looked like he was getting like bloodlust and stuff, remember?
The one that did what?
When Shane was turning, it looked like he was getting like bloodlust and stuff. I don't know if I had to do it anything, but
that might have been an acting choice.
It shows The Walking Dead's really contradictory.
Yeah. Maybe there was some slight remnants of memory there that Milton Mamet was looking for. He really wanted to screw over Rick somehow last time.
Yeah. Some of his anti-humanity was left.
Yes. All right, are we ready to go into the survival scenario?
Give me that dog.
What do you mean?
I mean, give me that dog.
What are you going to do with him? You can't open the doors to let him out. The bomb's liable to go off.
The dog's got to go. We're going to need every bit of air to breathe ourselves. After a while, we'll be laying on the floor to get fresh air.
But he's just a little dog. He doesn't breathe.
We can't have him here.
No.
Dog's got to go.
Don't you touch him.
Wait a minute. Won't do you any good to cry. It's all over. A little while you'll be thanking me. Get rid of that dog's going to help an awful lot.
Oh, my God.
You'll be glad we don't have that extra pair of lungs when you're laying here gasping for breath.
This week, you are each Rick, and you've just found out that Carol killed Karen and David. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about it, Mr. Bad?
Well, I don't think you can keep this kind of thing to yourself. I might agree that you might want to keep it from everybody, but I think a lot of it's going to have to do with how many people survive. Because if everybody dies except for 3 people and Carol, my initial plan is to banish her, to actually send her out of the camp. I don't think I could bring myself to actually kill her, or they are in the prison. They could put her in jail.
That's true.
Maybe a work release to go out to zombie land to fix the pump. I would consider banishing her, but or doing something. Yeah, something has to be done because she crossed the line, and I think Rick has clearly shown that going to that place is absolutely wrong. That's where Shane and the governor and even Rick was in a sort of sphere like that, for a while. And I think that he needs to step up and say that's wrong and actually do something. So I'm going to go with banisher.
All right. Mr. Good, what would you do?
Well, I think you take it to the council and you have some kind of trial and
right.
I would be looking to kick her off the council is what I would be doing. I think this idea of banishing, I don't know about that. You'd have to get some facts. She deserves a trial, and
right.
and I want to get to the facts. I don't understand what happened there was a lot of blood. You know what I mean?
She went in there with her knife and she stuck it through their ear, and then she drugged their dead, bleeding corpses out the door, splashed gas on them, and scorched the bastards.
Well, we know that the sick people in the last stages start hemorrhaging out of their
But,
orifices.
I have a question. I wanted to know what it meant when Rick saw the blood, as if like a fingerprint blood on the door. Remember that? It was like a clue.
That was kind of interesting / amusing. I mean, it's like, oh, a clue, but I mean, it doesn't really help him figure anything out.
Or maybe it might mean that either Karen or whatever the other freaking name, David or something. Well, maybe one of them was like alive or something. I don't know.
It could actually open that. Based on how big the handprint was, they'll narrow down who actually did it.
Yeah, could be. And if there's any, where you say, Mr. Bed?
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting. I was just going to say I agree with Faraday there. The only thing I could possibly think of, and it was, was that he was comparing the handprint, from the blood with his own, and just came to the conclusion that it was a much smaller hand. And then, he was going through the list of people who really knew how bad things were, and it was either the council, people with medical experience, or Carol. And, it sort of by a process of elimination, it was Carol.
That could be. I mean, I guess the question is, when he asked Carol if she killed them, I mean, it was still just a suspicion at that point, right? Until she said, yeah, I killed him.
I don't think there's any proof. Yeah, I don't think he has any proof.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Michael, what would you do in this situation?
There's actually, I don't really know what I would do. I'm just going to say what I might do, okay? I might, either banish her or, shoot her and then, shoot her weird hair / wig off. And then I might, if I didn't do that, I would, lock her in the same cell that she pulled, or, I don't know, Karen and David's body out, with all the blood in it. I'd just throw her in there.
Dang.
Yeah, I'd give her, a dog biscuit and then just, walk away.
Wow. Harsh.
And then I would just leave it under the table and say that that's not Carol, that's just, some zombie, and say she died outside.
Wow. Okay. Not pulling any punches. How about you, Faraday? What would you do?
I would probably consult a group of people, maybe not necessarily the council, because I believe most of them are partial to Carol. Try to go easy on her. I would go to a neutral party, one who's not overreacting, either direction, and ask what to do.
Okay. Yeah. And I would definitely have to go the trial route, I think. And the tricky thing is, I mean, you can't really do that right now because, I mean, you're in crisis. So I guess I'd probably essentially give her parole for the duration of the process of the crisis until they figured out, till the crisis is over, and then lock her up until you can organize, how you're going to put her on trial, and then have a trial, and then see how it turns out.
Well, where will you lock her up?
Well, it's a prison, like somebody else.
Yeah, but where in prison? You can't send her to cell block D or A because that's essentially a death sentence.
Oh, you can put her in D. You can put her in D. Just lock it up.
Where the slaughter was, and that place was quarantined because going there could make you contract the disease.
Then throw her in there.
Oh, okay. Put her in one of the other cell blocks. I mean, if they have cell block A and block D, then presumably there's also...
that A cannot be used because A is where they're holding all the sick prisoners.
Put her in a lock and chain and have people spit on her all day.
Not without a trial.
There's a hole.
There's a hole. At her, 25 cents a piece.
Damn. I would.
Gotta have recreation in hard times.
It's a prison, and there's plenty of places to lock her up in. I'd lock her up somewhere until the crisis is over, then put her on trial.
I mean, I can't really say kill her, Because at the moment, they knew that they were going to die. So it's not like they could save them. At the same time, you need to set precedent.
Right.
So there needs to be punishment. It's not necessarily death.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because if it goes back to Rick's three questions when he meets people and thinks about bringing them in, it's like, how many walkers had you killed? How many people had you killed, and why?
Yeah.
So I mean, you definitely got to take into the circumstances, but there's got to be some kind of punishment to tell Carol and everybody else that this is, we're going to have new rules.
Yeah, I agree. I would let the jury decide the sentencing as well. That's what I'd do. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way too. Then you spread the blame.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to move into predictions?
The Dharma Initiative called it calamity.
This man and his team created a series of equations which tell us with a high degree of probability where it is going to be at a certain point in time.
Event window determined. Extrapolating sound and vision.
Okay, this is a segment where we each give a prediction of something that we think is going to happen this season, preferably something specific enough so we'll be able to tell whether you got it right or wrong by the end of the season. So, Mr. Bad, what prediction do you have for us?
The readings on the wall, and Faraday and Mr. Good already, were talking about it. Death is in the wind, and it's blowing toward Woodbury and the veterinary school. So even if they manage to get to the veterinary school and bring some medicine back, somebody's gonna die there. And when they get back, I think they're gonna find several people of the sick people dead, and maybe even some of the main characters. So I think there's gonna be a lot of death in that 2 episodes.
That's not very specific, Mr. Bad.
Still plan to go to the veterinarian school?
Yeah.
Car.
I think
it's about 50 miles.
I think they were there though. I think that's what they were looking at past the herd. I think that was one of the buildings in the veterinary school.
Yeah. I took that as a pan out of look how many zombies there are.
Maybe
close to the prison.
it was fought over or something.
Billions and billions, Mr. Rico.
This place crawled, sir.
It's about a 12-hour trip by car.
You can find cars in the zombie apocalypse. That's not a big deal. And you can eventually scrounge enough gas. Now, 50 miles worth of gas, you might be right. That's more than a little. And they don't have communication, so they can't actually tell Rick or anybody else, hey, pick us up. Because they have extra vehicles and gas. That would be an interesting thing.
Head back.
Well, if they actually had put out, what do you call that, when you take supplies out and you put them like at distances from your camp and you bury them.
Cache.
Caches, yeah, put caches. That would have been real smart, especially for gas and some things like that, just some minor things, food and water, at strategic spots, because... if you get diverted or something by a horde, your tank of gas may not last you very far, depending on how many how far you got to divert, especially with the back roads and such.
Well, I don't think that was really an option for them, since they recently took in a fairly large group of people. They were running low on resources as it was. I don't think they had the privilege of just sending out perishable goods or goods that they could have been using at the moment. Random locations, in the off chance they would have to go there.
Well, I wouldn't say random locations. I would say they should have some well-worn supply areas, and just along those. So
the reason why it's random is, let's say that you decide to make an outpost to the north, or a cache, or whatever, but a horde is coming from the north. You will not be able to access the supplies you deposited there, as you will be forced to retreat in a different direction. And if you send caches in all directions equidistant from the prison, then you are spreading your resources too thin.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're currently in a position to be able to do such a thing.
I tend to agree with Faraday on that one, yeah.
Well, I'm just going to go back and say one last thing, and that's because they don't have communication, having some minimal cash means that's a place to go to if people go out on a supply run and they don't show up. At least you have places you can go and look. And if people get forced away, well, that's a place where they can leave a note about where they're going. Because right now, they're on their own, you know.
That's true.
That's my last word on it. I agree. You have valid points.
It makes sense in theory, but the point is they're too low on resources.
Yeah.
To just be, even if it's just ammo, they could be using the ammo. If it's food, they're running low on food. They can't just be, and most food is perishable. They can't afford to just be sending it to locations just in case someone gets cut off, when they could be using it for the larger group.
Put a box of mac and cheese in this ground here.
But, Steve, back to your prediction. Can you make that a little bit more specific rather than, you know...
Oh, okay. Well, I'll say Bob is going to die in the group going to the veterinary hospital. I'll say at least 3 people will die of the sickness, you know, non-name characters, red shirts. And I'm going to say Herschel's going to bite the dust. As much as I love him, you know, he's had a great episode the last couple of times, and I'm thinking they'll have one more good, you know, finale episode where he's like a hero, and and they're going to kill him off.
All right. Okay, Mr. Good.
Well, predicting death in a zombie apocalypse, as Mr. Bad has done, is like predicting rain in the middle of a hurricane. I would prefer to look at the love interest, for example. You know, Carol and Darryl, they were kind of an item for a while there. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to go on. In fact, I think there's some signs that Darryl and what's Herschel's daughter's name?
Beth.
Yes, that's my prediction. So my prediction for the future is that Darryl hooks up with Beth.
Michael.
I think at least 2 people from the 6 unnamed security red shirts are going to die. I think that I'm kind of feeling all Steve stuff. I think Bob is also going to die. And I don't think Herschel's going to die. I think he might get sick. To put down Herschel gets sick.
Okay.
But I don't think he's going to die.
Okay, so at least 2 more deaths from the sickness. Bob dies. Herschel will not die, but may get sick. Faraday.
Okay. First, I'd like to say a very bad analogy.
Okay.
Predicting rain in a hurricane. Well, by definition, a hurricane brings rain.
Right, yes.
A hurricane without rain.
Yes. But,
well, it might just be like wind.
But smooth seas don't make a good sailor.
But moving on to my prediction.
All right.
Well, as I mentioned before, I believe that a large amount of death is going to be coming.
Yes.
Specifically, they'll be killing off, if not all, the vast majority of the red shirts. Because it seems that it's going to be coming time to leave the prison soon, based on how it seems like they're getting ready to penetrate the fence. And we still don't know what happened to the governor.
Right.
And I think at least Herschel, Darryl, and Michelle will die.
Okay, wow. Herschel.
As well as the vast majority of the red shirts.
As well as... Okay. All right. And last but not least, for my own prediction, I predict that by the end of the season, Expendable Bob will be revealed to be an agent for the governor.
Oh my God!
I think Bob is a mole.
Not bad.
I think he's also probably the one that's been feeding rats to the zombies. Yeah, I know. I've heard on a lot of podcasts. I've heard people express the belief that one of those girls have been feeding the rats to the zombies. One of the little girls. I don't think that's the case because I mean it's not exactly that easy to catch rats. I don't see those little girls, catching all those rats to feed for those zombies. So I think
I actually had the theory that someone was giving them the rats and put the idea in their head to feed to them. The girls themselves were the one doing the feeding, but it was not their idea.
Okay.
Or they had assistance in some way. So they were talking about how they're still alive, they're just different. And then you saw them spend a fair amount of time near the fence.
Yeah.
Which could also explain why the kid, I forget his name, contracted the disease that Rick saw in one of the dead.
Well, it probably started with mice and led to rats. Mice was the gateway animal.
That's an interesting point, though. Carol certainly could have been teaching them basic survival. They were doing trapping. So they could have, showed the kids how to trap rats, both to protect the prison from disease and also to catch food.
Yeah, but I think it was on the second. Wasn't it right on the second episode or something when they first showed feeding the rats? And she was just getting a knife fighting, right? He was just breaking away from stores, or has she been teaching them for a long time?
Well, that's an interesting.
For a while.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. We get the impression that maybe she was doing a different subject each class, and that particular day it happened to be knives. But I mean, I guess it's also possible that was the first day she actually split with regular story time. But I don't know.
No, based on what I could tell, it seems like she's only discussing the basics and not doing any actual practical testing.
Right.
You're not getting hands-on with it.
Right.
That will be a little hard to keep under the rug.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So I don't think that any of them would really have the ability to catch it themselves unless they were already doing that before they went to the prison.
I tend to agree.
Also, I don't know who would trap rats for sustenance.
Well, if you're desperate, you're desperate. Man, you can eat rats. Lots of people eat rats. I've never eaten a rat.
You couldn't eat on a rat.
My wife tells me she's looking up recipes on how to cook squirrels, so we might try squirrels sometime in the near future. So we'll see how that goes.
But if you had a pet zombie and he was starving, you'd catch a rat.
How? How would you catch a rat?
Well, I think they show that they don't require
for the golf club.
So I don't think they starve.
Okay.
A little bit of peanut butter.
A little bit of peanut butter. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
ready.
actually a good idea.
Cheese.
The rats in peanut. They'll cover the rats in peanut butter, feed them to the zombies, and this way the zombies can't open their mouths.
Genius.
That's brilliant, man.
You noodle. Instead of catfish noodling, you'd go noodling for rats.
16 minutes to quarantine failure.
Possibly. Well, you guys ready to go into the spoiler quarantine? That's pretty much all I've got.
Let's get quarantined. Or here, does anybody want to talk morality about Carol, about how wrong she is, or how much?
Oh, come on! The zombie apocalypse, everything goes.
Well, I wouldn't agree with that statement. I did think it was interesting that when Tyrese is like demanding that Rick find, the killer, Rick actually sort of, halfway the action by saying, well, maybe whoever killed him was just trying to stop the disease from spreading. That Rick, even kind of almost defends the actions a little bit there. That surprised me a little bit.
Well, I think the point was that if he found them first, sometimes it hasn't.
15 minutes to quarantine failure.
Say that again, Friday.
Well, I think the point of saying that to Tyrese was to calm him down a little, and so that he doesn't just murder them on the spot.
That's funny the way he was walking around glaring at everybody. Roar! Roar!
I mean, I agree that it was wrong to just kill them without telling anyone or without any kind of consultation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was also very narrow-minded, not concerned that someone else could have been infected at the same time. And just killing those two.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, there needs to be punishment.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't just say, even if it's good intentions, you cannot just go killing whoever you want.
Yeah, yeah. She definitely took things, under, her. She made a decision that she shouldn't have made on her own. That was if something needed to go to the council, that definitely qualified. If you're going to actually terminate people in the group for something like that, that should have gone to council at least. Okay, ready for the quarantine? Spoiler quarantine?
Ready.
Okay, let's do it. Spoiler quarantine.
Initiating spoiler quarantine.
Okay, does anybody have anything in particular, or shall I just go into what I've got?
Well, the only spoiler I got from watching last week's Talking Dead was that Marilyn Manson appears to be on heroin almost all the time.
He fucked them at like a tractor and like run all the zombies' legs off, and then they just crawl out. Yeah,
It was funny. At one point, the guy said, I can't understand a word you're saying. And then at another point, he actually is surprised and says, that's actually a coherent statement, unlike everything else you said tonight.
Damn. So Marilyn Manson was on The Talking Dead, I gather?
Yes.
Wow.
Where the hell is the governor in the tank?
I don't know, man.
He's still gathering supplies.
I guess he's busy building caches in every direction around his position.
Funny guy. Well, if he turns out to be a cannibal, then he'll have people penned up.
He'll stash bodies like in there with his mac and cheese. Like, oh man. Bury a tank underground.
Not really a spoiler, but I would mention this article where George Romero was quoted as dissing The Walking Dead. He called it a soap opera, and said he didn't think it was that great because it doesn't have satire or political commentary in it.
George Romero is a butthead who hasn't done a good movie in 30 years, and, he's got such a head on himself. I heard that they actually offered him to direct an episode or two, and he turned them down. Like, he's got so many other irons in the fire, some great projects he's working on. I don't know. Every movie he's done in the last 30 years has been a D movie that sucked. So much for George Romero as far as I'm concerned.
Let's see. I was going to mention the scene earlier in the episode where Tyrese is swarmed by zombies. I wondered if that was going to be the TV show version of the basketball court scene in the comics.
15 seconds to quarantine failure.
There's one bit in the comics where Tyrese gets swarmed by zombies in a basketball court prison.
8,
Everybody
7,
has to leave them there because there's too many zombies.
5,
Later they come back and he's just
3,
slaughtered them all
2,
with a hammer and his phone.
1.
No, I think you're very, very close there. I think they had a couple of homages to the comic book, and I think that's definitely one of them. Yeah.
Okay. We shall see. I kind of expected to not see him anymore this episode, though, but he's already back out the trees again, so I don't know. We'll see. Well, that's pretty much all I've got. What was that? Somebody said something.
Remember, it's all about sex. It's all about who's sleeping with who.
Because it's a soap opera.
That's right. don't
right.
see how Romero could say it's a soap opera. I think the drama has been, and interpersonal development has been very dramatic and very well written. Especially episodes like Clear. How can you say something like Clear is a soap opera? I mean, you did have a little soap opera thing between the menage a trois between Shane and Rick and Lori, but he was taken for dead, and she immediately, went back to her husband. So there really wasn't any drama there, except Shane went batshit crazy and tried to kill Rick.
Doesn't really seem any less soap opera-y than the stuff that's been in Romero's good movies, so I don't really see that he's got much to talk about there.
I think that he was just using the core wording. He made it thinking like melodrama. Soap opera.
Maybe.
No, he really dished it, though. I mean, he was really putting it down.
Yeah.
But having said that, when's the last good movie you would say Romero did? I would say it would be Dawn of the Dead. I can't think of anything past there that I really enjoyed.
I thought Day was still pretty good. I know Richard McFeely actually likes Day best, but Dawn is still my favorite. But I thought Day was still pretty good too.
I was disappointed by Day. I'm not going to say it was without merit, but I was disappointed with it. But.
Was
what about
the one at the military base?
Yes, the underground military base.
That wasn't that. I prefer Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Or Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
8 minutes to quarantine failure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Romero didn't do Shaun, though. What?
He said he wished he had done Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, he wished he had done Shaun of the Dead. Romero probably wishes he'd done Shaun of the Dead. Oh, boy. Anybody got any final thoughts or words or anything you want to plug before I wrap it all up? No, I guess we don't.
Nope, I don't have anything.
Okay. Does anybody know what the next episode is called? Does anybody know?
It begins with an I.
Oh.
Another I episode.
And I don't know.
I know it. I was just looking at it. The name, that is.
What is it?
Here, let me just go back to the season 4. Indifference.
Indifference. Interesting.
Indifference.
Sounds applicable to Carol, or perhaps even Beth, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I think they've both gone pretty nuts. Let's just leave it at that.
I'd say the theme for this week's episode was we all have jobs to do and we all need to do our jobs. I think that was the theme for this
Yes.
week.
Yeah, she quoted that several times.
Yes. All right. Well, as Karen de Groot herself has written, careful observation is the only key to true and complete awareness. Your next tour of duty will last 1 week, and during that time you will observe The Walking Dead, a sociological experiment in progress. What is the nature of the experiment, you might ask? What do these subjects believe they are accomplishing as they struggle to kill some zombies? Perhaps you, as the observer, can find out. Each time your hate mail is filled with the fruits of your diligent observation, send it to station7thedoor@gmail.com, and presto, it will be transported directly to us. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 252-377-1087. We encourage initial reactions and Walkers of the Week, Rogers Awards, whatever you got. And you can also find us at losttv-forum.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/station7thedoor, or you can follow me on Twitter at Sergeant Drano. And that's pretty much all I've got. Thanks, guys, and good seeing you again, Faraday. It's been a little while. I hope you guys can make it next time. Yeah.
It's been so long, we missed your witty banter.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, guys. Well, on behalf of the DeGroots, Alvar Hanso, Hans von Hagen, and all of us at the Dharma Initiative, thank you. Namaste, and good luck.
Mr. Bad Robot.
Call recording has been completed.
Goodbye.
Well, it looks like my internet crashed, so that means the episode's over.
Hello, Deputy Grimes. My name is Milton Mamet. You probably don't remember me. We only met briefly during your summit with the man you call the Governor. But that was when I was still alive and still a friend of Philip's. That's why I'm calling, because Philip wasn't always the Governor. He wasn't always an inhuman monster, destroying all who crossed his path and using them to sustain the machinery, keeping his little outpost of humanity alive. Woodbury was once a sanctuary, and once he was a good man who cared deeply for the people who clung to survival at Woodbury. But gradually he saw the nature of the world where the dead walked, and the earth forever possessed, to consume the flesh of the living. Truly it is a living nightmare. And Philip became lost in it so completely that all shreds of his humanity were consumed. In fighting the monsters of this new world, he looked into their eyes and became an even more frightening and malevolent horror. He justified murder and torture and pillaged the world as efficiently as any ravager who stalked their prey by the cold light of the moon. All outside of Woodbury became grist for the mill that sustained his world. He came to see his own humanity as weakness, and he purged it from himself to the utter ruination of his soul. So this is a warning to you, Deputy Grimes, not of the risk to your soul, or the danger of you becoming like those monsters stalking the trembling and frightened remnants of humanity. No, I see in your eyes the loathing and abhorrence of that violence that has become a daily routine of survival in this new nightmare world. But the danger lies in your friends and family, who have come to love you. They have it in themselves to be the next governor, to destroy the perceived weakness of their own humanity, in order to forge a more perfect machine of deadly survival. You have but to look at those closest around you, those who care the most, those who have grown in strength in their determination to oppose the walking dead roaming this land, and they are so sure of themselves. They act with confidence and utter conviction in carrying out the creed of their new path, and purging from their hearts all sentimentality that might delay the strike of their knife or the press of their finger on the trigger. So I'd like to sing you a little song, Deputy Grimes, that my friend Otis helped me put together. Hit it, Otis. There's a lady who's sure that there's a golden rule, and she's killing a pathway to safety. When the shit hits the fan and it's all on the line, the good of the many outweighs the good of the few. Ooh, ooh. And she's killing a pathway to safety. There's no doubt in her mind, but she wants to be sure. 'Cause you don't get to come back from what you've done. In a cell on the block, there's a Tyrese who sings. Sometimes all of our desires are in vain. Ooh, it makes me wonder it makes me wonder. There's a feeling I get when I look through the fence, and my spirit is crying for safety. In my thoughts I have seen shades of Sophia through the trees, and the howls of walkers who stand looking. Ooh, makes me wonder. Ooh, it really makes me wonder. And I whispered that soon, if I call all the sick, will Rick call me to justice? But a new day will dawn for those who live on, and the prison will echo with laughter. There's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a smattering of zombies. Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, is there still time to come back from what you've done? It makes me wonder. Her head is humming and it won't go away, 'cause she killed them in the rain, and it's Rick calling you to justice. Dear lady, can you hear the walkers howl? And did you know your pathway lies on the whispering wind? Back me up, Otis. Just wind down the road. Our shadows taller than I saw. There walks a lady we all know, who shines devotion and wants to show how everything is still justified. And if you listen very hard, the morality will come to you at last, when we one and all are resolved to be a rock and not to weaken. And she's caroling a pathway to safety. Yeah, rock on. Very good.
They hung a sign up in our town. If you live it up, you won't live it down. So she left Monte Rio's son, just like a bullet leaves a gun. With a charcoal eyes and Monroe hips, she went and took that California trip. Oh, the moon was gold and her hair like wind. Said, don't look back, just come on, Jim. Oh, you got to hold on, hold on. You got to hold on, take my hand, standing right here, you got to hold on. Well, he gave her a dime store watch and a ring made from a spoon. Everyone's looking for someone to blame. And you share my bed, you share my name. Well, go ahead, call the cops. You don't meet nice girls in coffee shops. She said, baby, I still love you. Sometimes there's nothing left to do. Oh, but you got to hold on, hold on. Baby, gotta hold on and take my hand. Standing right here, you gotta hold on. Well, God bless your crooked little heart. St. Louis got the best of me. I miss your broken China voice. How I wish you were still here with me. Oh, you build it up, you wreck it down, then you burn your mansion to the ground. Oh, there's nothing left to keep you here. But when you're falling behind in this big blue world, oh, you've got to hold on, hold on. Baby, gotta hold on, take my hand, standing right here, gotta hold on. Down by the Riverside Motel, it's 10 below and falling. By a 99-cent store, she closed her eyes and started swaying. But it's so hard to dance that way when it's cold and there's no music. Oh, your old hometown so far away, but inside your head there's a record that's playing a song called Hold On, Hold On. Baby, gotta hold on to take my hand, standing right there, gotta hold on. You gotta hold on, hold on. Baby, gotta hold on, take my hand, standing right there, gotta hold on. You gotta hold on, hold on. Baby, gotta hold on and take my hand, standing right here, you gotta hold on. You gotta hold on, hold on. Baby, gotta hold right here, you gotta hold on. 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 You gotta hold on, baby. You gotta hold on, girl. You gotta hold on. You gotta hold on.